Hi everyone, welcome back, welcome live, happy Tuesday. Today we are ready to see together some tips, some tricks on the room creation feature. So if you guys are ready, maybe we are gonna wait a couple of seconds so you can join me and start with me from the beginning. We will be here for the next, let's say, 30 minutes. And if you have questions about room creation, about anything that comes to your mind that has to do with the editing part of the magicplan app, let me know in the comments and then I can answer you while we are here and we are live. Okay, so I would say if you're ready to start, I can share my screen. I'm using the iPhone here. It's an iPhone 13, just as a side info, so you know what I'm using. Okay, now you see my screen, exactly what I'm seeing in front of me. It's reflecting in your screen. Okay, just checking that you guys see everything. Everything should be fine. It's moving. Perfect. Okay, I would say let's start with a blank project. Okay, so we tap on new project, we create it. Okay, if you see something like this on top that you need to update, or there are workspace updates available, just tap on apply and everything will be up to date by itself. Then we can tap on the plus here and we can start with a ground floor. Okay, we're here, we have our blank page. Let's tap on insert room, and this is the process no matter what feature you would like to use. Okay, now I would like to start with the last feature because it's a lot of weeks that we don't see it. So I think that it's maybe time to refresh our memory and see how it works, the import and draw feature. Because here I can tap on it and I can import an image, okay, of a project that I previously created, maybe also on pen and paper. So on pen and paper, on paper with my pen. Okay, makes more sense. Then you could take a picture, selecting camera from, let's say, the top so that you can be as precise as possible. Or if you have it already in the photo library, as I did, we select photo library and we import the image of our project. Okay. Until here, everyone is happy? Okay, let me see the first question. Hi, love to see how to add landscaping and surrounding. Okay, I keep it in mind and we can see it in a bit. Stay with me. Okay, perfect. Let's start with this room here. Okay, now we have to set the scale. Okay, so I select it and I position it somewhere where I see the measurement. Or if you say, yes, thank you, you see the measurement, but what if I don't see the measurement? There will be at least one wall that has a measurement that it's not too wide. Otherwise, the scale will be set too, let's say, a bit too wide, too big, and you will have to zoom in and zoom out all the time. That's the only issue. Okay, so now we set the scale here because I see the measurement. I tap on done and we say, okay, that wall was 2.40 meters, which is a good measure. You can also change the unit. Maybe I can do it afterward. And we set the scale. Okay, perfect. Now let's create the room. We have our plan here. It's imported and we tap on insert room. Let's say that this is, well, let's select the define corners feature and let's say it's a dining room. Okay, I simply tap on a corner and I start from corner to corner. Okay, so let's do like this. Here we go. And boom, we have our room. Now I have my first room here and I can also go here in the info section and I can check. I can see the ceiling height, if it's correct. If it's not, I can change it here. Or I would like to go here in the measurements. Let me select them here. Oh, give me one sec. I'm used to my tablet. Okay, it's closing me all the time. Never mind. We can do one thing. I wanted to change from metric to imperial, so it makes also sense to see the measurement So I go quickly here to my account, preferences, and here we can change the unit to feet. Okay, apply. Okay, now I go back because I know that's difficult if you don't use the metric. Okay, but this one was already created, so it will not apply on this one. Now it's working. Okay, let's change the unit from here, because when you change the units, it will apply from the next rooms project that you created. Okay, but we already did this one, so I'm going to apply the changes here. So if you don't use meters, this would be a good scale for your project. Okay, just as a reference. Now let me also draw the other room. Let's do here insert room. We do define corners. Let's do like this, and let's say that's a living room. Okay, I zoom out a bit and we create our room. You know what? Let me undo this. I go from the other side. There's a reason why. I want to leave the space between the two rooms. I just do it a bit wider just to make sure that I leave the space here. Okay. Now I have the two rooms. I know that they're not exactly as we had them in the background, so I can select this wall and pull it out a bit. And also this one of the dining room needs to be pulled out just a teeny tiny bit like this. Confirm. Perfect. Okay. Now we are happy. We have our two rooms. We can hide the image as a background, and now you see that there's nothing left behind. Okay. You can leave it if you prefer. It's up to you. Now you see that we have the space left here. Now we can tap on insert room again. And here we have the option insert a filler. So the import and draw feature works once for every floor, because you can import one floor in one floor. Does it make sense? So you cannot import more pictures. You can create more floors and import a different picture. That works, but not more pictures in one. Okay, now let's insert a filler. And I select the filler wall. I position it here. Boom. And voila, you see that it has been filled in exactly as it was on my imported project. Okay, perfect. Now, maybe we can imagine, okay, that here we have some curved wall. Okay, so let's say here, let me use here the other pad. So here we don't have a 90 degrees corner, we have a curved wall. How does it work? We can select a point on our wall, let's say here, okay? And from the bottom, or if you're using the tablet, it will be on the side, but it depends. We can tap on add corner. Okay, now let me zoom in. We tap on the wall one more time. If you're staying, let's say, closer to the point that you created previously, then you can be more precise, but you can also add corners later if you see that they're not enough and it's not being really like, it's not looking like a curved wall precisely. Okay, so we can add a second corner and we can tap on the dot and we pull it in just a little bit. Okay, now let's tap on the wall again, maybe a bit like this. We add the corner, we tap on the dot and we put it in like this. Okay, I could also already use the big dot and pull it in so that we're already on a good path, let's say. Okay, now I can go ahead and create a lot of dots. Let's add some more dots so that we can be more precise. Or let me, if it doesn't work or your finger goes somewhere else, as I did right now, don't panic. Everything is fine. Just tap on add corner again, and then you tap on the dot and then you can move it. Once you add the dot, please move it, otherwise it will disappear. Okay, so just as a side note, we can add one more corner here, but I think we're pretty good. And add a corner again, and maybe I want to move this one a bit more inside. Okay, let's say that it's like this. And you see that it's pretty accurate. Now someone will say, no, it's not accurate at all. But it's just to show you how it works. Okay, so Take your time. If you have a beautiful curved wall, you can add as many dots as you want or corners, and then you can have your curved wall. Okay, perfect. Now we can, okay, you know what we could do, because you wanted to see how to add the outside area, which is also something related to your, I mean, it's not a room, but it's still space that you use to create the outside area of your project, right? So I'm gonna exit this ground floor. Okay. I will tap on the plus, and we have a floor called land survey. Can you see it? It's here pretty much in the middle. So I will select that, of course. Okie doke. And now I can tap on insert object. Here we don't have insert room. I will start with the building layout. Later we will add more rooms or create another floor. We will do something additional, don't worry. But I will create a building layout right now. Now, the app will ask, do you want to generate a building layout based on the ground floor? So in general, it's always based on the ground floor, or if you don't have it, on the first floor. And it's not including balconies, just as a side note, because we imagine that we're going to create, let's say, a garden, so an outside area. So it's not calculating the balconies, of course. We say confirm. If I would say cancel, I could create it manually, but we say confirm right now. And you see that we have the exact same shape of the two rooms that we just created together. Now, I will tap on, I'm just positioning it somewhere that it's maybe already in a good position. We will see. I tap on insert object one more time. I can go here in outdoors, and I can take a look around. Let me see what I would like to add. Give me a sec. Here we go. So we have this object called terrain layout. Okay, we select it, and we start tapping on our, let's say, Canva. Okay, so we start from, let's say, here, and we go ahead. I just created with a simple shape. You can create the shape that you want. Important note here, if you want to have 100% accuracy, you're maybe on site, you can also connect then the Bluetooth laser meter while you're creating the land survey. Okay, you would tap on the little blue number. You can connect the Bluetooth laser meter and measure the distances. Okay, but please do it while you're creating the land survey. Okay, because if you close it, then the measurements are set. Okay, perfect. So now you see, also another note, if it's highlighted in blue, it will move. So if you already position it in the right position, then go just tap outside of it, and then you can move the entire project. Okay, so it's not just the house or the terrain layout moving. Okay, great. So we can add some elements here if we want. There's a beautiful element that I actually like. Object. We can go in the no, sorry, I wanted to go in the outdoors. Here, the brick path, because the brick path can be resized with your fingertips, so you don't have to add more bricks. It just gets bigger. You just do like this with your fingertips, and you see that it's getting wider, so it multiplies by itself, which is pretty nice. Like we can say that we have an opening here, so we add our brick path there. Maybe we can also align it more here to the other side. Okay, better. Like this. Then we can also add something beautiful from the outdoors. We can add something that we all like in summer, a shaped pool or 8-shaped pool. Makes sense. We can make it wider, smaller, a bit longer. Let's position it here because we have the little steps to go into the pool. So it's better. Let me undo this. I didn't want to move the terrain layout. And last but not least, we can maybe also add some plants. Let's add, no, don't close. Don't go away. You guys see, I extra select different devices so we can all work together, because normally I'm quicker and it's easier for me to use my tablet. But I know that a lot of you guys use also a phone. So I'm doing the same. Now let's duplicate the palm and we'll put it here and we duplicate it again. Position it there. We can take a look in 3D. And voila, we have it. I have my eye, which is crying. I don't know why. Okay. If you see me closing the eye, it's just because it's crying randomly. Okay, so you see we have our house, we have the brick path, we have the palms, and also our pool. Okay, perfect. Does it answer your question, Simiak 98? I hope so. Okay, now let's go back to our floors. We can maybe create a new floor, I would say, because we have the ground floor, the land survey, and maybe we can also create a second floor. Okay, now let's tap on insert room. And now you see that on my screen, there's no LiDAR auto scan as a first option on top. That's just because the device, it's not an iOS Pro device, but I can still use the manual scan. Anyway, we saw both options, the LiDAR auto scan and the manual scan, last week in the past live video. So you can go to that. I will link it down here also to see the differences and when to use one or when it's better maybe to use the other one. And we can add a square room in this case. Okay, so I'm not going to move around and leave my seat right now. We can go to commercial and add a private office. Since it's a squared room, it's just standard, but then you can edit it, right? So you can make it wider, you can make it narrower, you can add a corner here and put it in. So you can really resize it as you want. You can also add a corner, for example, here in the middle, if your room has a particular shape, and you can have it as it is in reality. Okay, perfect. Now I can tap on insert room and I will decide to use the define corners. I will add a let's say a kitchen. I know that the other one is a private office, but just to show you and to see together. Okay, now let's create the kitchen like this, just like that. Then I'm gonna add something additional. This is a beautiful shape. I like it like this because we're gonna play around with it in a sec. Then we can add a square room again. Let's say that it's a meeting room, perhaps. I'm gonna tap on edit layout here. We can rotate the room, can move it around like this. I want to position it here like this, because you guys always say, or sometimes you pointed out that we create a lot of squared rooms. So I'm trying to create them in a different shape. Okay, so let's see together if we add, let's say, another room. Let's do with define corners. Let's do here conference room. Okay, we can add it like this. Let me create it like this. I know that it has like a complicated shape now. I'm going to put it down here, 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 here. Okay, and now you see that I left a space in the middle. Okay, so now we can select insert room. We tap on insert a filler and we select the filler room. Let's imagine that we have something like a closet there. I don't know, maybe we use it for something, for materials or to store things that we don't use right now. So we have a little closet here in the middle of this puzzle of rooms. Now we simply position this arrow here, because I know that you guys sometimes have a room that's in the middle of other rooms. So this would be an option. You let it go and voila, the space has been filled in with a new room. Okay, if it's not a closet, no panic, you can still rename it. Okay, so you could go in the info section, and instead of closet, you can say this one is our lounge. Okay, perfect. We can also change the color if we want. We say it's a lounge, it has to be relaxing. Let's say that we want to paint it in blue, so we make it blue, and we can also go back here. We could also add from the object an annotation that we want to paint this room with a light blue color. Okay, position it like this. Let's go out. Okay, perfect. Now, if we have a room that, okay, can we, let me see. Can we delete a project to use a new one in the free version? Unfortunately, not, because it's a technical, let's say, limitation. I'm sorry if I'm still keeping my eye closed, but it doesn't want to stay open anymore because it cries by itself. So you can, however, if you have a free version of the app, you could delete the floors, the floor that you have inside, and you have a blank project. Okay, so you cannot delete the entire project, but you can delete the single floors. Okay, so if I go back here, let's say that we don't need the land survey, or we don't need any of these floors, we can simply tap on the three dots, we delete the floor, and we delete them all, and the project is blank and it's ready to be used again. Okay, so you could do like this as a workaround. Okay, maybe I wanted to say before I was reading the question, if I have a room which is available or which is present more than once on my project, I can duplicate it. Okay, so I can say duplicate it like this, and then I can move it around. If I have it on the same floor, I can simply assemble it. If it's not a kitchen, because I doubt that we have two kitchens on the same floor, it could be, but it's not so common. Let's say that this one is a kitchenette, for example. So we have kitchenette. Little note, if you don't see the name of the room appearing, you did nothing wrong. It's just that the name is a bit long. You see here conference room, so it doesn't fit this room because it's too small. So if I exit, I will not see the name, but once I export the project, everything will be listed. So don't worry about that. Okay, and if I have more floors with the same pattern, so the rooms look exactly the same on the first, the second, the third, etc. floor, you can simply duplicate the entire floor. So you don't have to duplicate each room. You can tap on the three dots here and duplicate the entire floor. If you want to stay inside this project, we stay here. Otherwise, I could also select another project. And we can also select a floor, or we have to select a floor. Let's say that's a third floor. In this case, if we added some notes, some photos, we can decide if we want to keep them or not. Maybe not in this case, just to see, and we duplicate it. Okay, perfect. So now you see that we have the ground floor, the second floor, and the third floor, which looks exactly the same as the second floor. But for example, here we added the to paint object. Since we said we don't want to add annotations and photos from the other floor, this is an annotation, so it has not been duplicated here. Okay, just so you know why it's not visible. Okay, guys, do we have any other questions, or are we happy with this session on how to create rooms, how to create some interesting things, some curved walls, the land survey, the garden, or okay. What are driving a project is good for? Maybe I also show the question for you guys. Okay. Well, let's say that it was a request that you guys had a lot to be able to archive possible or archive projects that have been closed, that are not useful anymore for the company because the project, the restoration, the renovation, whatever has been done. Now you can do that. So if you have a project that you don't use anymore, you can, as an example, right? Maybe you just want to keep here on your main page the project that you're currently working on and archive the others. So let's say here, I don't want this project here. I tap on the three dots and I archive it. Okay. However, it will not be deleted. So if I go in archived, I can still recover the project. Okay, so recover and open, or let's do recover and open, for example. So we have our project here. And if I go back to the main page, you see that it's here. And maybe a similar thing, it's for the favorites. So if you go here on the three dots and you mark a project as favorite, then you can also work on it when you are offline. So it's very good if you, let's say, if you go somewhere on site and you know or you doubt that you're not going to have a good connection, you're not going to have, possibly not going to have data to be connected or to be online, simply to be online. You can add it to your favorite, and then once you're on site, you can work on it. You can do all your editings, and once you're back, you simply make sure here you see the little cloud. You tap on it to make sure that it syncs with the Magic Plan cloud. That's why you also have the cloud as a symbol, and then you can be sure that all the editings will be saved both in the app and in the cloud. If you have some doubts, duplicate the project just in case, just to be sure. You can also duplicate it and add both versions to the favorites, or just add the, let's say, original version to your favorites and then duplicate the project. Here, I will leave it like this as a copy, duplicate, and give it a second. I see the other question. I'm coming. Let me see. It's loading. Okay, I don't know where it has been duplicated. This is the beautiful thing of the live. Let me redo it. Okay, let me duplicate it again. Okay, let's call it, I don't know, 1, 2, 3. Let's see. 1, 2, 3. Done. Okay, duplicate. Let's see if we're gonna see it this time or not. This is interesting. Ah, there you are. Perfect. I think my phone was shortly disconnected somehow. Now we have it. Now we have 2 copies. Voila. So if it happens to you, also give it a second. Maybe the connection is jumping or something. Okay, so basically archiving a project is good for organization, right? You can put in the archive what you're not using or what you don't want to see on your main page for whatever reason. Can we use Magic Plan on a laptop? The Magic Plan app, no, you cannot use it on your laptop, but you can use the Magic Plan cloud on your laptop, which has different functionalities. Some functionalities are the same, so you can set up your company profile, for example. There's a dedicated video to this topic, so maybe I will link it down here once we're done with this live, and you can see the differences between the app and the cloud, so you can have a better idea or take a better look at the difference overall. Okay, guys, I think that we already used our 30 minutes. I hope that you enjoyed this live session and that it was useful. Okay, I see that we have no other questions. I was checking. So I will see you next week with another live video, and I hope you will join us there too. If you have any questions after this live, you're welcome. You can always contact us at support@magicplan.app, and we will answer them later offline to your email, so you don't have to publish your questions down here publicly. And that's it. Okay, guys, thank you so much. and I'll see you in the next video. Bye.